Hi, my name is Benjamin Kinga. I am born again. I love Jesus. I was born in Nyeri some 30-something years ago. And that is actually where I went to school in Nyeri, in a school called Nyeri Primary. I also went to secondary school in Nyeri Baptist High School. So most of my childhood life, I spent it in Nyeri before I later came to Nairobi for my further studies in college. And right now, I'm currently running a taxi business. I started this business back in the year 2019. So I've done it for the last 4 years now. Okay, for me, starting the Uber business or the taxi business is not really an inspiration, but I can say it started as an interest because I enjoy driving. I love driving, so for me it was more of an interest. But to just go back, before I started the business, I had gone through a very difficult period. I did not have a job, and yet I was having a young family. I remember my wife was expecting our second born, that is our son Perez. And so it was a very difficult time. And I was almost giving up. I remember I was so stressed. I would not even pray. I was feeling like, life has nothing much to offer. But one day God gave me the idea, and by the grace of God, I started pursuing the idea of starting this Uber business. And that's when, in 2019, I started the business. In 2019, by the grace of God, and I really want to thank God for my family, that is my mom and my sisters. They were very supportive, and they are still supportive even today. One of my sisters, whose name is Margaret, and may God bless you, Margaret, as you watch this. By the grace of God, she owned a vehicle, and she was relocating to South Africa with her husband. So she graciously left me in charge of that vehicle, and with the little savings that I had, we were able to sell that vehicle and buy this particular vehicle so that I could begin the work of the taxi business. So when we were able to purchase this vehicle, as a family, we decided that this will be a family business. Remember, I had said that before starting this business, I didn't have a job. So through the proceeds of the sale of that vehicle, plus a few of the savings that I had, we were able to purchase this vehicle. However, the amount was not enough. So I had to pay in installments part of the money that was needed for this vehicle. And I remember in the year 2019, it did not peak immediately because I was paying the loan, or rather the installments. I was paying that amount of money. And at some point, it became very difficult for me to be able even to manage to pay that amount of money. And I remember it was quite a challenge to handle many of the responsibilities that I had. So I really started straining to even pay off this vehicle, that remaining amount. But I thank God once again as a family. They came in and they really helped me and supported me, and we were able to clear off the balance with those who had sold the vehicle to me. But I was left now servicing the remaining amount that I was supposed to service for this vehicle. So now, once we were able to clear off the balance with the seller of this vehicle, I remember now I started, at least the burden, the financial burden became a bit easy. So in 2020, I realized that at least I could be able to handle a few more responsibilities, because the amount of money that I was making from my business, it started at least to, I was able to meet most of my obligations financially. So I can say to an extent, that's when I realized that at least my business is speaking. I could make a bit more compared to 2019 when I started. In 2020, as I've said, I realized that my business has started to peak. However, like you all know, COVID happened. And especially for us in the transport industry, the taxi business, the Uber, that was a major blow to us, because as you all know, movement was restricted, and I remember there were days I could go for a whole day without having any customer to carry. But I thank God, by the grace of God, God was able to sustain me. And I also want to thank God because some of the financial obligations that I had, the people that I was supposed to be paying were very gracious to me, very kind, and they were able to understand the situation that was there at the time, that is COVID. And so they were able to be a bit understanding, and they were able to give me more time so that I would be able to pay them depending on what I was making. So COVID was a major challenge to many people. I remember speaking to several drivers who are running a similar business, and most of them were telling me that their vehicles, some of their vehicles were repossessed. Others, they had to sell off their vehicles. They could not be able to handle the pressure that was there. But I really thank God that God somehow sustained me, and I was able to go through the COVID period. COVID came, the income that I was making was not much, so I had to make some adjustments. I remember we had a discussion even as a family with my wife, and we had to agree on how to adjust. In fact, as a family, we even had to relocate so that we could cut down on the expenses of house rent. We had to adjust on some of the things that maybe we could call luxuries. So it was not an easy decision, but it was needed at that time, because we were able to go through that COVID period. We were able to survive that very difficult period, but we had to make some of those adjustments. And I thank God that even as a person, it helped me, and even with my wife, we were able to become wiser even on how we spend our money and how we budget our money. So it was a really important lesson that we learned. I can say that as COVID continued in the year 2020 and now into 2021, still things were quite difficult. But I really thank God that at some point, the economy was opened up. And we saw a resumption of, traveling. People now started traveling more. I cannot say that we are really back to where we were before COVID, but I can say that at least things have really, really improved. And now the business was able to stabilize once again. As the economy started to stabilize and business started to resume, I had to think of new ways to rebrand myself and to be able to, bring myself back to where I was financially. So I had to come up with new ideas so that I would expand my business. I remember I was able to produce business cards like this business card here. I had to produce this business card through which I now wanted to build my customer base. Remember that before COVID, I was basically relying fully on the online taxi application, that is Uber and Bolt. And then a question came into my mind. Now that COVID has happened, what if one day you wake up in the morning and Uber and these online taxi companies have closed down? What would you do? So I had to come up with an idea to rebrand myself so that I would not fully rely on the online taxi applications. So I came up with this business card. I also was able to build my customer base. I started communicating with those people that I had already kept contact with. And now, by the grace of God, I have seen my business move, not just relying on the online applications, but I have my own catalog of customers that I can say I rely upon every week. So I have expanded my business. I do parcel deliveries. I also carry my own individual customers. And I'm in the process actually of expanding it even further so that I can offer more services. I know right now currently I'm doing school transport. There are some school children that I carry. And so my idea is to expand it and make it fully self-reliant, that I don't have to depend on the online application companies. Okay, this work has several challenges, like every other business. I know those who are in business can agree. Biashara iko na very many challenges. In this particular business, that is the taxi business, we have challenges like rude customers. You may carry somebody and that person becomes very rude, sometimes aggressive, especially if maybe that person is drunk. We also have challenges with the county askaris, that is the kanjo, especially in Nairobi city. Especially for us Uber and the taxi drivers, we are a major target of these county askaris. They really harass us, and sometimes our vehicles are towed by the kanjo, the county askaris, maybe because we have parked in places that are not allowed, or maybe you have dropped a customer in a place that maybe is not allowed. So that in itself is a challenge. We are also facing a major challenge when it comes to the issue of fuel, that one is a major challenge. Because as you know, the cost of fuel has really gone up. So it makes it very difficult to be able to, to make money and maybe save, because most of the money is being used to fuel the vehicle. We also face issues such as the mechanical breakdowns. When the vehicle has a mechanical issue, that one in itself is a challenge, because one, you need to have money to repair the vehicle, and also when you are in that garage or in that mechanic's place and you are not working, that means that is money that is going to waste. So those are among some of the challenges. Insecurity may be another challenge, where especially if you are carrying in the night, you may go to places that are not very safe. There have been cases of people having the vehicle stolen, or some of the body parts like the side mirrors and the headlights being stolen. So those are some of the challenges that we face. And also generally, let me say, as a driver, you are always at risk on these Kenyan roads. People sometimes become careless when they are driving, and that one is a major challenge also. Yeah. I thank God that my business is slowly growing. As a family man, I thank God that I am able to sustain my family through this business. I'm able to educate my children who are both in school. I've also been able to, invest in financial institutions, as I'm still building on my investment. And I'm trusting God that very soon I'll be able to expand the capacity of my vehicle, so that I may be able to diversify on the kind of services that I offer. As part of my achievements also, I can say that through this work, and especially as a Christian, as a believer, I can say that apart from just the issue of making money, I have been able to also speak hope and speak life to some of the people that I carry. I remember there is one of the customers that I carried one day, and we formed a friendship. And that man was an alcoholic. And at some point, he was almost running mad. And I remember one day, as he requested me to come and offer him my services, I was able to pray for him, and yet he was an Indian man. And by the grace of God, I was able to speak hope to him, to pray for him. And several months later, when I looked at him, I could only but thank God. The man was changed, he was transformed, his family was restored. So for me, as a business person, I also take this as a tool of ministry, where I know that I can be of help, I can speak hope, I can inspire somebody, I can be a blessing to somebody, even outside the area of making money. And I believe for most of the business people, I think we should have that in mind, that we are not just there in business to make money, but we are also there to speak life and to speak hope. As a believer, you are there to be a blessing to whoever you are serving in your particular business. So for me, that's an achievement, and I really thank God for that. I believe that in the next few months, by the grace of God, I'll be able to expand my business. As I had said earlier, I'm hoping to buy a bigger vehicle. I want to expand my business to offer touring services where people can be able to hire my vehicle to go for long distances. I also intend to open a tour company where I can, I can take people through my services. They can book hotels, they can book transport services, they can hire my services to take them to the different places like the national parks, Mombasa, for example. So I'm really hoping that I'll be able to expand my business, that I can offer touring services and adventure services, especially for the domestic market, the Kenyan people. So I'm really hoping that I'll be able to take that my business to that dimension. Every business, as I said earlier, has challenges. I would say that ideal environment, one, for my business is myself. In what state am I? For example, if I'm stressed, if I am sick, that is not an ideal environment. So I always take very serious precaution on myself to ensure that I'm always, healthy, I'm stress-free. Another ideal environment is my family. When my family is happy, when my marriage is strong, that one also creates a conducive environment for my business. I also ensure that the people that I'm serving, I offer them the best service. I offer them comfort and convenience so that they are able to enjoy, and that also creates a very conducive environment. I would also urge the government, ensuring that it is easy to carry out our business. There are no disturbances, for example, by the county askaris, by the policemen, and also to ensure that at least some of the products that we use, like fuel and the spare parts, are affordable, so that we can be able to at least make an extra coin that can help us, and we can be able to save and invest. I've thought of closing down not once, not twice. I remember when things were so difficult and I almost gave up. I went to my financial advisor, God bless him wherever he is, I don't want to mention him. And I went and told him, now things are bad, I think I want to close down. But I thank God for that man. He was able to speak life. He was able to encourage me. So it's not very easy sometimes in business when you are almost at your end. Sometimes you feel like giving up, but I thank God that every time I have always found the strength to continue. And I want to also say that sometimes it's not about money. Money is not what determines success in business. Sometimes it is the impact that you are making and the fulfillment that you get from what you are doing. If you measure your success just in terms of money, then you cannot be in business. So the fulfillment that comes from what you are doing and the impact that you are making to the society and to somebody out there, that's what brings fulfillment. Just like the Bible says, Jesus said that before you do any venture, you count the cost. It's good, number one, to ask yourself, where will I get the capital? For example, if you want to purchase a vehicle, you need to look for a purchase plan that will not strain you financially. So if, for example, you are going to service a loan, ensure that the payment period is flexible and is affordable. You are able to make the payment. Number 2, also ensure that you are competent as a driver, you are sober, you are not easily irritated, you are not a hot-tempered person, because remember, you are carrying people. So you need to be very patient and not hot-tempered. Number 3, as you look for where to get the funds, also look at the type of vehicle that you want. It's good to buy a vehicle that is in good condition, one that is not very expensive to maintain, so that at the end of the day, whatever income you are making will not be spent on repairs and maintenance. Vijana, nataka kuongea na nyinyi, my youths, nataka kuwa encourage wenye mnanisikiza. Hakuna kazi rahisi na pia hakuna kazi ngumu. Hiyo yote, it is dependent on your mind. Nasema hivi kwa sababu kuna vijana wengi hawataki kufanya kazi, lakini pia wanataka kupata pesa. So ninataka kusema, there is nothing that comes easy, kijana. You need to wake up, you need to, be strong, be brave and face your fears. Lazima ujitume. Usipojituma, hakuna mse atakushughulikia. I know many times tunasemanga gava haikumbuki my youth. Hiyo yote ni maneno tu. Wewe ndio utajishughulikia. Jitume na usidharau ile kazi ndogo unafanya. Mimi nikidharau hii kazi yangu, watoto wangu watakula wapi? So usidharau kazi, hata kama ni hiyo kidogo. Usidharau, sababu mikononi mwa Mungu, ukiipea hiyo kazi kwa Mungu, hiyo yenye inaonekana kidogo itakuwa kubwa. So don't fear to start, even if it's something small. Don't fear to start. Be brave. Take that step of faith. Sometimes watu wanasema sina pesa. Sometimes you don't need capital. What you need is just the determination to do something. So go for it, man. You don't need to even own a vehicle. You can get somebody to employ you, and at the end of the day, you pay that person at the end of the day. So kuna kazi ni mingi. Wewe ndio utaamua, wewe ndio utajiamini, na uamue that you will not fear to get tired, you will not shy away. Usijidharau useme watu watasema nini. That one is not important. What is important is that at the end of the day, you are making something and you are putting something in your pocket. Business yangu ninaiita pikipiki, cabs and errands. We offer taxi services. You want to be taken from point A to B, and maybe you don't want to use the Uber, especially for those people who are around Kiambu and its environs, or Kiambu Road. You can just give us a call. Pia we do school transport. As I told you, we carry school children. And as I had said, we want to diversify, tuanze offer tour services. If you want to book a hotel, if you want to be taken to that hotel, or even to different places like Masai Mara, like Mombasa, you can give us a call. We can organize a good rate for you, and we will ensure that you will have seamless service from your point of pickup to your destination and back. We also offer delivery services. If you have a parcel to be delivered, tutakufanyia hiyo yote. Once again, this is Benjamin for Pikipiki Errands. and carbs. Thank you for watching PrayerCave TV. This is my source show. Baraka.